right, hello everyone, and welcome to the information session for the Wiggles Way Affordable Apartment Lottery. So this is a project that I know a lot of you have been waiting a long time to hear about when it will be completed, and we are very excited that we are coming around the finish line here. It's not done just quite yet, but every day we're making more and more progress. So um, we launched the lottery, I don't know, about a month ago. And so I'm just going to share my screen. We can go over the flyer itself, and then we'll take some questions if anybody would like to anything specific answered for you. So here we go. All right, so this property is located at 31 Fairgrounds Road on Nantucket, and it is a year-round affordable rental housing opportunity, and it's for households low and moderate income, which just means they're just terms that we use here. Low income is generally less than 80% of the area median income per household size, and moderate is about, it's basically up to 150% of the area median income. So when you see these allowable annual incomes here on this flyer, these are for the 80% AMI units, and that's area median income. Those are the ones that are included on the town's subsidized housing inventory as affordable and technically affordable. So these, we need to follow a very prescribed procedure for how the tenants for these units will be selected. So this is part of that process. By the way, I don't know if I introduced myself, but my name's Ann Cuspa, and I'm the Director of Housing Nantucket. So Wiggles Way is a new development of 22 apartments located at 31 Fairgrounds Road. So that's right next door to Fairgrounds Restaurant. Some of the amenities that are in these apartments are hardwood floors, private storage in the basement. There's shared washer dryers in each building, and those are card operated. And there will also be a public park on the site. So we're looking at August 1st for a completion date. And if everything goes well, then we'll have people moving in there with over the next, say, 30 days. And we're encouraging people to, if you are selected in this lottery, we just want you to hold off with, I know it might be really exciting, but just hold off in letting your landlord know just in case there are any delays. So we just want to make sure you don't lose your housing or, because you're going into this unit. So there's 6 affordable apartments awarded by lottery, and they're available at below market rents to low income households. There's 16 workforce apartments available to moderate income households, and they'll be selected from our ready to rent list. So when I talk about workforce housing, that's really generally from 150% AMI down to about 81% AMI. And then the affordable apartments are basically 60% AMI to 80% AMI. We have an online calculator that, and it's part of the application. So if many of you, I'm sure, have put in applications already for this development, and you'll see if you put in your income and you put in your household size, it's going to tell you right away if you are eligible to participate in the lottery. If not, you'll be either told that you're below income and that you might be directed to the housing authority, or you're going to be told that you're above income and that there's other programs that are available to you. So that would be the ready to rent list. And that's how we already have quite a few people who are on that ready to rent list. I'll get into how we're going to choose there later. So there are 2 completely wheelchair accessible units available. So that just means that they are equipped for the Americans with Disabilities Act, like there's certain accommodations that were put in place into these two apartments. There's a 2-bedroom apartment and a 3-bedroom apartment. So if you know anyone who has an ambulatory disability, or if there is someone in your family or you yourself have an ambulatory disability, please encourage them to apply for this opportunity as well. So the units that will be awarded by lottery, there are 2 1-bedroom, 1-bath units with a monthly rent at $21.94 per month. There's 3 2-bedroom, 1.5-bath units with a monthly rent at $24.68 per month, and 3-bedroom. Let me start over. There's 1 unit that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit with a monthly rent of $27.41, also includes utilities. So that's electricity, actually. So the water is paid by the tenant themselves. Any household that is going to qualify for this lottery, they must meet certain annual income eligibility guidelines. And like we kind of talked about in the beginning, you figure out how many people are in your household, 1 person, then you find what the range is here. And if your income on your tax returns is within that range here, then you would be eligible for this lottery. Eligible applicants also must have less than $75,000 in assets, and they cannot own residential real estate property of any kind anywhere in the entire world. So please keep that in mind. There's more information about the workforce units within the application. We can talk about that in a minute too. So the way that you get to the application is through our website, and you can either click this button here. This is a hot link within the PDF. You can also go onto our website. If you've been here before, go to housingnantucket.org, and there's the Wiggles Way Lottery. This is how I got to that flyer that we're looking at here. And when you go to download the PDF, you look at that PDF, and then there's a hot link right there that takes you right to it. So, let's see. Sorry, I'm kind of in a loop here. There we go. So here's the application itself. And a lot of this information that I just talked about is here on the left side of the application. It's got the rents and the ranges for per person, per household size. And then it also talks about the workforce units too. So while we're here, I'll just talk about that. So there are 16 workforce units. There are 6 1-bedroom, 1-bath units, and those will be rented at $23.98 per month, including utility or electricity. There are 9 2-bedroom, 1.5-bath units offered at $27.42 per month. There are 1 3-bedroom, 2-bath units offered at $34.27 a month, and the allowable income for each household size is listed here. So like I talked about before, this income is 81% of the area median income up to 150% of the area median income. And we base that off of the Housing and Urban Development published 80% AMI for Nantucket County. So if we can talk, if anyone has any questions, I'll take them at the end, but we'll just go through all this information and then I'll take questions. So here we are at the Zoom info session. We're going to put this on our YouTube channel, and you can access it at any time after that. So you can watch it. If you forget something or whatever, then we've got the lottery that's going to occur on July 9th. So all completed applications must be submitted by 2 p.m. on July 2nd. Once you apply to the lottery, you're going to receive a detailed email from our staff verifying your eligibility and giving you a lottery number. So if you complete this application and you don't get that email from us, then make sure you send us an email at this address, info@housingnantucket.org, or you can call us 508-228-4422, and maybe there's something wrong with your Wi-Fi or something like that. So the responsibility is on you as the applicant to make sure that you're getting that email back from us. There's a last month's rent due, as well as a security deposit. Actually, yeah, sorry. Yeah, first and last month with a security deposit, which is 1 month rent, and that's all due on lease signing. And if that last month rent is a challenge for you, then we'll figure out a payment plan so that you don't have to pay it all at once. Let's see, what else here? We'll go back to the flyer over here. This says all that stuff that I just said over there. So, after we have the lottery, then on July 9th, we're going to be notifying the tenants who were picked shortly after that. And all that means is, here, why don't we just kind of run through what the lottery application looks like. So first thing that's going to is make or break you. Do you have less than $75,000 in the bank? So if you do, then you can move on to the next step. How many people are in the household? So I've got, one person in my household. Then when we ask for your annual income, we're talking about what's on your tax returns. So that's reported income. A lot of people are self-employed, and we understand that. And maybe you make more money than you report. But what we're looking at is your tax returns. So if you make more, or and you can't document the income that you're making with your tax returns, then we can't look at that as legitimate income. So this application tells you where you are. If you're making less than $57,000, you're not qualified for this opportunity. If you make between 60 and 80,000, then you are qualified for the lottery. Between 80 and 150, then you're directed to the ready to rent list. And there's a hot link here to get to the ready to rent list. So we'll just kind of continue along as if we've got this 60 to 80% AMI. So then you just go through, you're going to put in your full name, your email, your phone number. We collect information about the applicant's race because we want to make sure that we have people who are applying for this opportunity who are representative of what the community as a whole looks like. And that's a requirement from the state. They want to make sure that the marketing efforts that we do are reaching everybody. It's not just certain types of people that we're reaching them on, say, Instagram or something like that, or in our local newspaper. They want to make sure that the people who are applying are representative race-wise, or of what the community as a whole looks like, so that it's a fair and equal opportunity. If there's special accommodations required, then you can let us know. At this slot here, we want to know where you live now. We want to know what your current rent is, and if you're paying utilities, how long you've lived there, why are you moving? A lot of times people are moving because the house is being sold, or maybe they're in an overcrowding situation. So just tell us a little bit more about what's going on for you. How'd you hear about this? This is also very interesting to us because we want to know which one of our marketing efforts is reaching people. So we do a lot of radio ads. I always like to hear when people hear them on the radio. So how did you get this information? It helps us. Local preference. So local preference, we are able to offer 70% of the units that are being awarded by lottery. So of these 6 units, 70% can have local preference. So That means that the applicant is a current resident of Nantucket, they're an employee of a business located in Nantucket, or they're including town employees, or they have a child who is a student enrolled in the Nantucket school system. If anybody works for the town of Nantucket, we're working on, and the town really wants us to have a municipal preference for town employees, because there's a real challenge for them as employer to fill all the jobs within the town. So we're working at the state level to try to get a municipal preference within the local preference. The state hasn't ruled on that just yet. So, but they could. So we're collecting that information right now through this. For the workforce units, which, as we've talked about, they're going to be awarded from our ready to rent list. There we can give a municipal preference because the funding for this project comes primarily from the municipality. We funded this project through grants and loans from the town of Nantucket. And the way that the town got the money was from town meeting voters. So anybody who voted, and thank you. And anyone who isn't voting really should be voting, because the more money we can give to affordable housing, the more of these kind of opportunities we'll be able to offer to the community and people who need them. So moving along, everyone in the household needs to be documented. So if someone is not in the country, then and in other words, they're not able to be documented through tax returns, then they cannot be considered part of your household when you apply for this. So, so a lot of times people come to us and they say, oh, I want to bring my child over here from the different country, but I don't have a place to put them. So I need to put them on my, I want to put them on my application so that I can bring them over here. Well, for this type of housing, unfortunately, we can't help you. Everyone who is in the household and considered as part of the household needs to be here on island right now. They also need to have social security numbers. So they don't necessarily have to be citizens, but they certainly need to be documented on tax returns and have a social security number. So the age range, we want to know that kind of stuff because, and the sex of the people who are within the household, because we have certain rules around who can share bedrooms. So for example, a married couple or people who are in a married relationship, they need to share a bedroom. They can't have two separate bedrooms. It's because we want to maximize the number of people who would fit into that bedroom count. So people who can share a bedroom would be the married couple. A child under the age of 6 can share with a parent, but once a child is over the age of 6, they cannot share with a parent. Two same-sex children can share a bedroom. Two different sex children cannot share a bedroom. So those are the kind of rules that we have around who can share a bedroom. And if anyone has a unique situation they want to ask about them, please do feel free to ask either here or reach out to us privately at that email address, info@housingnantucket.org. Then we get into the employers aspect of the application. We want to know who your employers are, and if you're self-employed, then put the name of your company on here. So we understand a lot of people here on the island have a lot of different jobs, so it's not just one job. So we want to know how many employers do you have, and then the form is going to kind of tap out employer number 1, employer number 2, employer number 3. So we need to know what's the employer name, which household member is holding this job, what is the employer's address. So this is where we need to figure out if they're a Nantucket employer, the employer's phone number, what the job title is, how many years employed by the employer, and then we go through. So say it's a wife and a husband. So first, employer number 1 would be the wife's job. Employer number 2 could be the husband's job. If there's a child who's working, there you are, employer number 3. So you're going to put in that information as well. Assets are everything. So we're talking about bank accounts, investment accounts, retirement accounts, any kind of Venmo or PayPal, any trust funds, anything at all. So if you've got something that's not listed here, then just fill in the blank and let us know what that is. But if you've got multiple things, then you just select this and the form is going to give you spots to fill in all of this information. And we're asking you to basically self-report, we call it. So you're going to look at your most recent checking account statement, for example, and you're going to say, you know, Bank of America, $30,000. Okay, well, that's great. We are going to ask for documentation after you're selected as a winner for an opportunity to get one of these apartments. So at that point, we're going to ask for the actual paper documentation that shows your Bank of America statement with $30,000 in it. So at this point, if you say you have $100,000 in your Bank of America account and you know that, oh, there's a $75,000 limit, I better say $30,000. Well, it's going to flush out as we get through this verification process, and you'll be disqualified. You'll go off the list. You won't have an opportunity to reside in the complex at all. And then we'll go down to the next person on the list and offer them the opportunity and vet them and vet people that way. The reason why we do it that way is because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of demand for these apartments, these 6 apartments. We have a lot, and I don't know if anyone on my staff can tell me right now, but because I'm not looking at it all the time, but I know there's probably over 100 applications at this point just for these 6 units. So in the ready to rent list, there's far more than that too. So it is important to be honest from the beginning. And like I was saying, we can't vet all of these 100 applicants when there's only 6 units. We're going to vet people once they're selected, and it's just a more efficient way for us to manage our time. So do you or anyone own residential real estate? And let us know. We look at all sorts of things to verify that information. And then this is all certified under pains and penalties of perjury. So if we trust that you're going to tell the truth. If you do not, and we find out, then it's just something that we take note of, and it's not good. So, all right, I'm going to look at some of these questions here. All right, so I see Caleb saying that the applications are taking about 5 business days for us to review, and so please contact us after 5 days if you haven't received your lottery number by then. And then I had a question, what if we move above 80% AMI within the next year? And that's a great question. So if, say, somebody gets the apartment and they earn 80% AMI, and then next year you got a raise and now you earn 100% AMI. Well, our rental guidelines, we do not kick you out. I don't want to get too technical here, but it's what's called a floating unit. So basically, if you're then earning $100,000, so then the apartment that you're in is moved into the 100% AMI part of the workforce. It's basically essentially a workforce unit at that point, and the next vacant unit is selected. We select an 80% AMI tenant for that newly vacated unit. So we don't kick you out, is the point. So when you exceed the income for this property as a whole, so in other words, like we were talking about before, the maximum income to qualify to get into one of these apartments is 150% of the area median income. Once you get above 150% of the area median income, our policy is to give you 1 year to find a new place to live, but then beyond that, we cannot renew your lease. our leases do not automatically renew. So what that means is they're for 1 year, and if there are any substantial lease violations within the course of the year, then, it doesn't happen often, but if there's a lease violation, then we can end the lease. Say, for example, you're not allowed to sell drugs in our units, okay? Surprise, surprise. If we find out that you are selling drugs in the unit, then that's cause for termination of lease. So those are the kind of things that we can terminate a lease within the lease term. But at the end of the lease, if say there's noise complaints and we keep working with you to try to keep the noise down, or something actually more common than that is messy areas. So, a lot of stuff outside your unit. We tried to work with you to try to get the porch cleaned up or something like that. If we can't come to a place where you're following the lease, we're not going to offer you another lease. So that's something that it's very important to understand the terms of the lease and then, of course, follow them too. So I hope that answered the question about if you increase the from AMI over the next year. And then I'm just reading this chat. So Caleb said we've received 138 applications to date. And I see somebody says, if I am right on the cusp of earnings, and I think they mean assets, the asset cap. So because they're saying 74K to 76K. It's a firm asset caps. It's $75,000. That's the line. We have to draw the line somewhere. And frankly, I think it's too low, especially here on Nantucket, but that's the state's requirement. So we have to abide by that 75,000. If you're right on the cusp, maybe there's some debt you can pay down. Maybe there's something that you can do so that for the purpose of this lottery, you can meet the asset requirement below 75K. We don't check your assets after you're in the unit. So in other words, when we do our income, we do income recertification every year. So, but we're not going to check your assets every year. We need to make sure that you're earning within our purview here for the incomes that we serve. So in order to get a lease renew offer, you need to give us your income every year, but your bank statements and whatnot, we're not checking that. What is the pet policy? The pet policy is, you're not going to like this, no pets. Sorry, it is not a pet-friendly place. There are so many people in this one apartment complex. It's just not something that we're able to accommodate right now, unfortunately. So no pets. For this particular unit. We have other units that do allow pets, but for Wigglesway, no pets. All right, so are there any other questions? I'm going to turn off the shared screen. Anyone, just feel free to ask them in the chat. But if not, then we'll start to wind things down. Ooh, okay, I got a question. All right. Okay, this question from the applicant is, when they first filled out their ready to rent list, they made under 80% AMI, and now they make over that. And do I have to update your info? And the answer is yes. So, I think that's a common question, and I'm glad that you asked it. So we were talking about that at a staff meeting recently, if we should have any ready to rent applicants refresh their income if they would like to be considered for the Wigglesway units. And so yes, please do that. And if you're not selected for Wigglesway, then I think it's a good idea to just kind of check in every year and update your income if it changes year over year. Any other questions? Okay, someone's saying they applied. Should they receive a number as confirmation of the request? And you know what? I am not sure. I think you do, but perhaps Caleb can write that into the chat because I haven't been on those emails. Yes, he says. Any other questions? Okay, well, good luck, and everybody should follow us on Instagram and Facebook and subscribe to our newsletter because we are posting pictures of the units. We're going to be going inside soon and then taking videos. Right now, we're installing the solar panels for the property. The whole property will be net zero energy use. So that means that all of the electricity will be produced on site through a large solar installation. It's this carport, so basically a parking lot that has a solar pergola, a pergola system that's set up on top of that, and then solar panels on that. So all the energy that is produced through those solar panels gets what we call net metered, so to the apartments that are on the site. So that just means that you don't have to pay for electricity because it's included in your rent. And the way that we're able to do that is through a grant from Remain Nantucket. Very grateful to them for supporting this project. They're very generous in that respect. And also from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, we got a nice grant from them as well. And Affordable Housing Trust Fund funding too. So there's been a lot of people who are involved in this, and the finished product is really amazing. So we're really grateful to everybody. And then plus our donors. So anyone who shares our stuff on Instagram or talks us up around the community, and that helps us because it helps us to raise money for projects like this, and it helps us to provide affordable housing for people who need it. So, and I know there's so many people out there who do. So thank you very much, and let us know if you think of any other questions at a later date. Good night.